Everybody, welcome to Record Checker. So this is going to be the first episode going out, and if you have no idea who I am Ryan Fern. I'm part of Fern Motorsports, and we are a 3-car team running at Stafford Motor Speedway. It's a track up in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, and it's also the birthplace of the SK Modified. You might be familiar with those from iRacing if that's something that you do. But either way, right now we're driving, headed on down to my boy William Kuhn's shop. He's a driver from Monadnock, some great sponsors on his car rolling here. And on his old car, we're going to be taking out the motor because that thing got sold, less motor of course. And that car actually used to run at Stafford with a man, Gary Thoralt, one of our friends, mutual friend there. And you know, he's going to be getting out of the car. He's not going to be running it next year, so off the thing goes to a new home. And, you know, it's just what we're going to be doing today. It took forever. And a couple weird things on the car, but we were able to get it done there. So, long and short of it, just to explain why I'm doing the voiceover bit here, I'm just jumping into this. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I really want to be able to learn exactly what's going on here and figure out how to get good at making YouTube videos, give you guys the inside Iggy about what goes on during the winter and during the race season as well. So, here we go. So the first order of business is getting the drive shaft out, and back here on the rear of the car, there's these 2 U-bolts holding it in. 2 nuts each, easy peasy, job done. But the one caveat to the rear of the drive shaft is the needle bearings that are inside the joint there. So if you don't tape up the end of that, then you can have those go all over the floor, and it's not fun whatsoever if that happens. Next, we got to get the exhaust out of the way, and on this car it's just a couple of hangers, nothing major. Pressure fit onto the headers with these 2 clamps, until one of the exhaust tubes decides to try and give you a concussion. So that's always fun, but one side done, get the other side done as well, and we're all set with that. With the drive shaft out of the way, we can get the transmission removed. Sometimes you can leave it on the motor, but it's also easier for later to just get the thing out of there if you can. So 4 bolts is all it takes here to get it off the bell housing. And sometimes, as this case shows, the input shaft of the transmission really doesn't want to play nice. So we've got a screwdriver on the throwout bearing, thrall bearing, a lot of names for it. People pronounce it different ways. And Willie's going to yank on this transmission to get it out of there. And speaking of not playing nice, we get the bell housing off the motor, and the throwout bearing didn't want to come out of said bell housing earlier. So we get the thing off, and now we have just enough room to get the thing out of there and move on to the next step. And now it's time to put the car on the ground so that we can actually get into where the hood should be and start removing things that we have to from there. So now at this point we got to drain the motor of all of the coolant, and that involves just ripping the hose off of the radiator. And to do that, it's just simply either, 5/16 nut driver, or you get yourself a flathead screwdriver, get those hose clamps off of there. But just kidding, after finally getting a flathead screwdriver, it turned out that we had to raise the car again to even reach the hose clamps, so back up it goes.
Oh my god.
So after draining that and cleaning up the mess, we can start getting to the fun parts of taking the motor out. And by fun parts, I mean the part where you wonder who in the hell decided where to put the header bolts on this motor, because most are easy, but then there's that one on each side that's always a pain to get out.
Hey, buddy! A great success! Not quite. Starter's in the way of this one.
Of course it's in the way, why wouldn't it be? I guess we'll just move on to getting the other side out at least.
It's a little easy to get the zip ties with dikes and razor blade over there.
While I was busy pretending I was from New York, Willie started on removing the carburetor, and while he went to go grab some tape to cover up that intake, making sure that we don't drop any bolts down there, as that would be catastrophic, I took these studs out because we're going to need those spots vacant to get the lift plate on there.
Very nice.
And now we're starting to get to the home stretch, just got to get that power steering pump off. And do a couple of little things like getting the throttle linkage out of the way. And if there's one good thing about being a literal twig, it's that I can get into pretty much everywhere that everyone else cannot, so I was tasked with getting the wire off of the starter. And if there's ever a bad thing about being a twig, it's trying to break loose the motor mounts while Willie is back there and getting the distributor off of the motor. Now that all the motor mounts are off of the car, we can get the engine hoist in place, hopefully get this power plant out of here. Thankfully, that was the last problem that we had, and it was relatively minor. We just decided to go in from the side with the engine hoist, finally get that thing out of there, and that was job done.
Oh, it's on the left on the side, that's why.
There it is now. Got no motor in it. Huge gap. Huge gap. Normally the rule at Stafford's 5 inches. Well, this thing's sitting like, where's the tape measure actually? We got a tape measure over here? I wonder how far off the ground this thing actually is. Hold on.
10 inches.
Or I thought. Oh, it literally is 10 inches. Your guess was right.
I know what 10 inches is, Papa.
So thanks for tuning in, watching this first episode of Wrecker or Checker. Hopefully we'll be able to get a better audio solution. That was definitely interesting trying to work around that. I don't really want to continue doing videos in exactly this style, but I definitely want to keep filming what goes on at the shop and give you guys the inside look there. So we'll catch you guys on the flip. See you in the next one.
You have the right of way, dog. Oh my god. Let the man through. Let the man through, please. Oh my god. And we got this guy.